Do you know Japan has the third largest economy in the world? It's kind of crazy when you look at that little map and see that little country. But do you know that it has something to do with what's going on here in America's economy? You need to stay around. We're going to be talking about that today. My name is Charles Vance. I'm along with Chief Strategist Terry Sacka. You're watching The Wealth Transfer. Terry, good to see you today.
Charles, hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Wealth Transfer. And as Charles alluded to on Japan, what's interesting is we think of Japan and we just think of the electronics. Maybe we think of World War II, you know, the atomic bomb scenario. But we don't understand how after World War II, we were directly influential in building the Japanese economy. Matter of fact, the cities that we bombed with the atomic bombs are actually some of the most beautiful and dynamic cities in the world. But Japan was a vibrant economy. One thing you could say about Japan, they have one of the most conservative cultures, actually a pretty wonderful culture, you know, in my opinion, conservative cultures in the world. And when they have like natural disasters, remember when they had that natural disaster not too long ago, the nuclear facility?
Yeah, absolutely. It was horrible.
But the people, they'll stand in line calmly, peacefully.
Amazing.
They don't riot. They don't rip each other's guts apart.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really nice and calm people.
But there's some stuff going on with the economy there, and somebody might say, shoot, that's halfway around the world. What does it have to do with us?
Yes.
But it does have something to do with our economy. How does it connect?
Yeah, as we were talking over the past few weeks around the dollar and the euro, how the euro is directly connected, the euro itself, let's put it this way, when we measure the dollar's value, when we try to get the value of our dollar, wait till we get into this, by the way, in the next few weeks. You're going to want to stay tuned because we're going to show you how what the dollar isn't really a dollar. It's called a Federal Reserve note, and it's extremely different. And we want to be able to tune into this because the dollar, by our constitutional standard, you're going to find some very interesting things that will help you going forward. But how we get the weight and measure of this, what gives this its buying power and value? Well, the euro is 57% of that. So whatever is going on in the European economy directly affects almost 2/3 of it, the value of a dollar. So if Europeans are doing really bad, then the American dollar will be priced really high. Japan is next. So Japan, we're down somewhere in the area of about, 14% now, 13.6. So Japan is the next largest economy directly related to the value of this dollar. So whatever Europe is doing or Japan is doing in their economy directly impacts what we think is the value of our dollar.
What do you mean by 14%? You said something about 14%. Japan.
Well, if you take 100%, and 100% being, you know, this is how we get the dollar measure. So when you take the dollar and you want to find its value, people don't maybe quite understand how we get the value of a dollar. They think the dollar is valued, meaning its buying power, its trade power. It's really in trade more than anything. If someone's selling something and your currency is worth less, then there's a difference in, you know, the buying power. We think, probably most do, that the dollar gets its value because we're good, or we're strong, or our economy's doing well, and that's why our dollar buying power is stronger. And that's just flat out inaccurate. Our dollar value comes only by the measurement. So I guess the way to do this, let's take a teeter-totter. If we have a teeter-totter, for instance, and you have the dollar on one end and then these other 5 currencies on the other, and the 5 currencies being the euro, the Japanese yen, Swiss franc, kroner, Canadian, they do this. So as the trade goes, the economies go with these countries, they weigh the value of that to the dollar. And I may not be saying this as clear as I'd like. Depending how their economy is doing, imports, exports, GDP, how much they're producing, inflation, all these matrices that come together to show that, we're in a, well, put it this way, recession, we all understand that. So that's a good way to put it. If we're in recession, it means we're producing a negative number. in our gross production as a nation.
So you're talking about the whole nation as far as a gross production. You're talking about our labor force and our production of products.
Yes.
Okay.
And Japan, same way.
Okay.
European countries, the same way.
So you're saying that our dollar has to do with what we can purchase with our dollar from another country.
Yes.
And the countries that we do business with on a large scale, like Europe, Japan, and the other countries, our dollar, obviously, if we can't buy something from them with our dollar, the value of it goes down.
And now think about this, and that's exactly right. And think of this as the transition. We all could probably say, look around your house right now, your office, everything you put your hand on probably says made in China, Singapore, some other country,
Indonesia.
right? Indonesia, Mexico. We don't produce things anymore in America. It's very rare you'll see made in America. So when these products, even this pen, is produced in another country, we have to buy that pen. Let's say it's produced in Japan. Japan has a currency called the yen. We have to buy this pen. They sell it in a yen. We have a dollar. So whatever the value of each currency is, we pay more for that pen or less for that pen.
Now, how do we go about trading a dollar for a yen? Because we're not purchasing the product apparently in dollars, are we?
Well, no, what they normally do, which this is changing, and this is why this is so directly important to we the people in the kingdom, our future, our retirement, our standard of living. Because we don't quite get what's getting ready to take place, and the dollar value is going to be severely compromised, which of course is going to compromise our retirement accounts. We're not going to buy less. I don't have to, this is a nice part, Charles, I don't have to really explain in detail what that means. Let's just look at the fact of how much money are we paying, how many dollar bills are we using to buy food. Look at college costs. Skyrocketing, books, everything we buy is infinitely more expensive. And the media spins it as that's a normal thing of life, inflation. It's just not, because our incomes do not keep up with it. That's why they're fighting so hard to raise minimum wage and stuff, because it's so much more expensive to live. So what's coming, our dollar value is going to lose so much buying power that we will need more of the dollars to buy the same good. Right now, we're seeing a unique flip because you're seeing the dollar value strengthen, but it's strengthening for all the wrong reasons. And this is why this is so crucial. The reasons the dollar is strengthening is because the Japanese yen and the euro currency, Europeans, are so bad. And they're our direct trade partners. So now that the dollar's stronger and the yen is less, it's giving the Japanese the ability to ship products to America cheaper. And to answer your question, Charles, what we do is how they were doing it before. The Japanese would convert their currency to a dollar. Then we do the trade in dollars.
Now, where do we do that?
Currency exchanges.
Okay.
That's very common.
So there's people that actually make a business in exchanging currency.
Oh, absolutely.
They charge you something to do it, obviously.
Sure, but they have to. The dollar was set as the international trade currency. It was the dominant trade currency for a very long time. Unfortunately, we are losing. I shouldn't be laughing, but it's just astonishing that it's happening, and most of us don't see it coming. And it's very nerve-wracking when you don't see something coming. It's like a tornado. If you didn't get a warning and you didn't see it coming, and all of a sudden it's in the front yard, you're going to be in trouble. And that's kind of what's getting ready to happen.
Now, my wife and I have been in several foreign countries, not a ton, but several. And most of them we've gone for missions purposes. So they're countries that are more suppressed than our country is. They almost always want your American currency. You don't have to go exchange.
They used to. And what's interesting,
been a few years back.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is Europe used to. When I was in the Army in Germany, they loved the American dollar over there. Today, I had to go over business in London a few years ago. And I'll never forget, I had currency with me, and I'm thinking, oh, no big deal. Everyone always wants a dollar. You can really, you know, work your way through and get goods. They didn't want it. They didn't want the dollar. They told me, sorry, we don't want that. Go change it to a euro or use a credit card. And I was shocked because in the Army, that's not the case. So what we're getting at here with Japan, and we're going to start showing a little more detail, is they're the third largest economy in the world. And wait till you see what's going on with Japan. Why it's so important to us is our retirement system is in jeopardy going forward. With the tornado that is approaching, we believe that if we're not properly protected with the body of Christ, we won't be any good for the church. And I say the church as in the body itself, not just ourselves. Mind you, individually there is a wealth transfer to take place, but there's also an important protective element for the body of Christ to help feed and protect Jesus Christ, because if we lose our resources, we lose our influence. And people ask, well, what can we do about it? How can we prepare and be properly protected for stuff like this? Here are some things that you can do.
Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you with cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call or register now.
Now, the reason that we speak of precious metal is that's actually the real definition of the dollar. The dollar in all historical terms, constitutional terms, is grains of silver, grains of gold. We believe with the tornado coming to the fiat fake paper money world that you need to be protected, and the best place to be protected is what I would also call God's money, because He gave it to us. That was our gift, because there's a finite resource. Remember, there's only so much of this in the earth, and it's getting far more scarce, especially in silver. And it's a great way to store your long-term value, because it'll continue to gain value over time. It's nice, too, you don't have to really think about it. It's not a get-rich-quick scenario. It's an asset you hold, but significantly in just 10 years, of course, silver's gone up a couple 100%, and when the dollar's gone down 40%. So a dramatic difference in where you're putting your money. So why is Japan, I want to make sure we clarify this, Charles, is why Japan is so important in how you exchange the currencies. So when we are to buy something, if our currency is too strong and the other currency is cheaper, it will actually cost us more money to buy the same product.
Now, you're talking about when we exchange the money, if this were Japanese yen and this were a dollar, and I needed some yen to buy products with.
Now, they do it the other way around. What they do is it's all in the dollar, so the yen would be forced to exchange to the dollar, and they do it. But if one currency is higher in value than the other, somebody needs a lot more of something to buy the same thing.
So we're basically buying more product with less money, American money, because their value of their yen is lower in exchange rate than it has been. So this stuff fluctuates all the time.
It fluctuates, but the problem is we are buying more product from other countries cheaper, but here's the problem. All of our exports, all of the products that we produce here in America now become too expensive.
Oh, so less people are purchasing them.
They will. It will start to make people want to purchase from another country, not from America. So a strong dollar actually does the opposite for our exports. It makes us more expensive.
So that obviously would take a period of time before we're buying stuff. I'm buying stuff from you, the Japanese, cheaper, and then I want to sell my stuff that I make here.
Believe it or not, that happens daily.
So it happens real quickly.
Real quick. Like let's say you're a business and you're getting ready to buy 100 TVs for a big office complex. All of a sudden, that TV either became more expensive or less expensive.
Okay.
Now, we produce stuff in America. We still do produce.
Sure.
So the things we are producing here, we want to sell them overseas. All of a sudden, they're getting more expensive. So what happens when things are more expensive from America's point of view? We profit less, so it hurts. So a strong currency is good, but it's only good in some fashion. When it comes to exports, it's not. It is good that we can buy things cheaper. But it's only good under the pretext that it's a real economy. Its real strength is because we're viable. We're strong because we produce. We're clean. But that's just the opposite. We're only strong because the Japanese yen and the euro currency is collapsing. Now let's show some of this because this is really important to get. The Japanese are the third largest economy in the world. They are huge. They are one of the largest trade partners. And their economy is essential. They've been struggling for almost 20 years. They have an imbalance of population, older, younger, but they've just made bad choices in printing money in a fashion that has caused them big problems. They have printed more money to try to stimulate their economic growth over the last 20 years, and it's to a point, and I mean, in my opinion, it's probably has to collapse sooner or later. They need to do some form of restructuring. Their debt is through the roof. So look at this image, for instance, number one. It's known as a debt to GDP, what they produce. Now, you can't really, you probably could see these if you kind of focus on it, but look at the list of the countries in their ranking, debt to GDP ratio percent. Now, there's a lot of people are going to debate this. It really depends how you calculate. I'm throwing everything, this is throwing everything in. Liabilities, future liabilities, everything that you're obligated to. You notice Japan is at the top of this list. 400% debt to GDP ratio when you throw in all obligations and debt instruments.
I want you to explain the 400% GDP ratio.
Debt to GDP, meaning all of their issued debt, bonds, IOUs, loans, and future obligations to retirement accounts and you name it, pension systems.
Are you talking federal and personal? All of this together, or is this just federal? We're talking about the debt of the nation.
This is just the country.
This is the country.
Yes, this is a country. And so if you notice, Japan's like 400%, and then if you notice the other top countries, Ireland, Singapore, Portugal, Belgium, Greece. You see Greece right there at number 7. If you've noticed, the countries on the verge of collapsing this world's economic system, Greece, Portugal, Ireland, Japan is at the top. And then if you notice, the United States is number 16 there. We're not, look at all the countries below the United States. We're not as good as people think. You can take that off.
Is the bottom line on this, is they're spending more money than they're making?
Well, you know, I could do, we'll do this, let's do this. Here, in that Japanese yen, the reason that's the case, they have debt, meaning a credit card debt. Let's think of it in terms of us. When we say debt...
Like an individual.
Yeah. When we say government debt, just think of you having your credit card debt. You have to pay the bill, right? A lot of times, people just pay the interest on the bill. And then, of course, the debt keeps accumulating. If the bankers had their way, we would do nothing but pay interest for the rest of our life.
Sure.
And they'd be happy about that.
Well, that's where they make money.
Yes, exactly right.
If you're good, and what I mean by good, if you're good to pay the debt, then what do they care if they loan it to you or they loan it to me?
Yes, but the problem is we
will
will never accumulate wealth because we will always have a bill to pay.
And
the ideal for your children and your children's children, or to be there in the kingdom when this thing collapses, if and when, not if, when this tornado comes through our nation, because there is a realignment coming in all currencies. There's something really, really big coming down the pipeline. And when that happens, the more debt we have, individually and as a nation, what do? You can't do anything anymore. You won't have the ability to buy food or resources or protect or do things because all of a sudden you don't have liquid asset. This is really important. So if you think of the Japanese, they have, no kidding, this is how much they have printed in yen, 1 quadrillion
Oh, wow.
yen.
What's a quadrillion?
1,000 trillion. It's like ridiculously worthless. And yet they're still doing it. But you see, they're at the top of the chain. But now, this time, it's becoming bad. And so not only do they have a quadrillion, here's what that means. The government is spending, right now today, 43% of all the tax revenue they collect just to pay the interest on that debt. Now, do you see who's becoming the enslaved?
Are they structured just like
Yes,
the
they all
Federal
are.
Reserve and,
Yes.
and the U.S. government?
Yes.
So for people that don't know, the banking system in Japan is not owned and operated by the Japanese government.
No.
It's rich folks.
Yeah.
Same thing in the United States. The Federal Reserve banking system is not owned and operated by the U.S. government. But however, the U.S. government makes laws that lets them print more money so they can borrow money against bonds and things that they want money for.
Oh, wait till we get into that
the
stuff.
Japanese are doing that now.
Absolutely. It's just known as the Keynesian economic model.
What is it again?
The Keynesian economic model. The Keynesian is, people all study that in college, you know, it's typical, it's what we in the West do, the whole supply, demand, all this kind of stuff. And it's a dramatic failure, but the alternative is really the issue, you know, it's not communism, right? But that's the argument. This is so important, though, because Japan used to be such a vibrant economy, especially in the younger years, 70s and 80s. Because they're in such serious debt problems, and they're struggling, I mean, really are. They're still moving along, but you get the wrong little trip in the road, and that thing's collapsing. That's where we talk about the towers. They're building these towers of fake monetary stimulus and money systems, and when it pops, it's going to all collapse. We are in the direct crosshairs because Japan goes down, we're all going down. We're all interconnected. That's why I believe the storm that is coming is a ferocious global storm, which I also contend could potentially even lead to massive, like a third world war. I just know that this isn't going down easy. And 2008 was nothing compared to what's coming. So
now,
our retirement is in the middle of this.
Because somebody would say, well, you're preaching doomsday.
No.
And it's not that. What we're trying to do is tell people to get prepared because everybody doesn't go down.
That's right.
Even in when we look at the Great Depression, there were people that had prepared themselves financially.
That's
they
correct.
had set themselves in a place where the wealth would transfer to them. The name of this show is called Wealth Transfer.
And yes.
And if you get yourself established spiritually, we believe spiritually and financially, in those two areas for wealth to come to you, it'll be transferring to you instead of away from you.
That's right.
And it doesn't take an outrageous amount of work to do that. I mean, everybody is on a different level of financial income and financial ability, but you can start where you are.
You have to, because a little is better than nothing, right? And what's coming, you need to be properly protected because it's going to be like a tornado. So when folks say, well, what can we do? How do we get started? Here are some things you can do to get started.
Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you with cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call or register now.
Now understand, they're doing 43%, nearly half of all the money Japan collects in taxes pays just the interest on the debt. So who is running who? The people collecting the interest are the ones in control. And the people of Japan are slowly becoming slave to the system of the interest. They'll never pay the principal. That's enslavement because you'll be paying that interest for the rest of your life. But half of everything they collect goes to that interest. This is absurdly unsustainable. And we need to understand this. Let's go to image number 2. This is a leveraging chart that is really important. Now, I know it's hard to really catch that, but just notice that the reds, Japan's near the top there, the reds are showing the amount, and there's the shades of reds and oranges, show the amount of leveraging in the governments, the locals, the economies.
Explain leveraging to the average person.
Leveraging means they're borrowing far more money than they have. So if they have $10, they're borrowing $100 to pay for things. So look at all that orange and red in the governments and in the totals on the left. That, and all those countries listed on in the gray areas, that's what that represents. The green is the only areas where they're actually going backwards, and that's not as good as you think it is either, because it just depends on why they're going backwards. But that shows you how many countries are whooping up the leverage scenario. So you can take that off. What's happening is they're trying to create inflation. So they keep printing more money because inflation is the only way that this works. Their money is leaving Japan. Real Japanese with real money are saying, I have to leave, and they're taking money to Singapore. They're getting out of the Japanese banking system because they know something is coming. Now, what that does is it causes capital control. Capital controls we've seen right now in the United States, little, but it's coming. Your money that you think is money is in the banking system. What is in the bank is susceptible to a control mechanism. That's why I think storing for long term in retirement accounts in a gold or silver, mainly silver for a lot of reasons, precious metals IRA, rolling it into that, you store it in a real hard, tangible asset in a vault in your name that's not attached to the bank. And that's really important because this is all in the banking system.
Or people can actually have this sent home.
Oh, sure.
You held up a troy pound, but this is an ounce of silver. I mean, you can get all kinds of 1 ounce coins.
Well, that's true.
Anybody that knows anything about this, you could exchange this for goods.
Always.
Always.
And so when you see capital controls come in, the governments start locking down your ability to move. Take money out of the country, buy other assets. They control it. So we're going to continue next week. We'll finish this up, and then we're going to get into explaining more about the dollar. But it directly impacts our future. So stay tuned to this. Be blessed. Remember, if you haven't made Jesus Christ the center of your life, ask Him. He'll come in and the truth will set you free.
Tell somebody about the program. We'll be right back here next week, same place, same time, for more of the Wealth Transfer. See you then.
Cornerstone Asset Metals is here to help you protect and preserve what you have worked hard to gain. For those who have IRAs to protect, 401ks to preserve, or cash in the bank, we would like to send you a package of information regarding the changes to the dollar and the challenges of our economy that you need to be prepared for. This package includes how easy it is to roll over your current IRA or 401k into a physical precious metals IRA for long-term protection of your hard-earned wealth. For those of you with cash to invest, we can arrange to have your precious metals stored in a private vault or simply send it to your home. Call or register now